Well, it's day three in the Big Brother Discord house. We're here with Danielle. Um, so let's kind of walk through your journey coming into the house. So you get the invitation to play. How are you feeling? And what was like your plan coming into the house?
I was super excited. Uh, Very interested to see the tech side of things, which is phenomenal. I just have to say the whole setup of the Discord is absolutely mind blowing, and I'm loving every moment of it. Um, I definitely wanted to come in and just try and be friendly. I naturally am that kind of person, and I find it easiest to just try to feel everyone out and see who wants to talk and who doesn't want to talk and give them their space. But so far, the house has been absolutely top notch in the friendly zone. Really haven't seen anyone who's off putting or anything like that, which is really great. So I was just excited to hop in and get to know people.
All right, cool. So from everyone who joined, who are you kind of feeling like you've bonded the most with over the past few days, and also who you feel like you're not bonding too well with?
So Robin and I have really formed a nice close bond, and he and I have been chatting quite a lot, which is really good. They were really the first person to talk game with me, so I liked that. And from there, um, we both kind of just felt out like who else we kind of wanted to, maybe try to connect with. And I'd been talking a bunch with Hex, and they had mentioned that they had been talking a bunch with Kathy, and so we kind of just joined up into our little four trio of the gamblers. And have had some good chats since then. We really had a nice plan to get Hex the audition tokens. We kind of all decided that we were just going to align all of ours for each, round as a group together. So that's what gave Hex the win, which is great. And I really enjoyed talking to Ari. She and I are both in the STEM field, which is nice. And I really enjoy, I've really enjoyed getting to know them on a just a professional, personal level, which is really cool. There are a few people who aren't as talkative. Clash is one of them. Sadly, they're on the block for that reason. I feel, um, and they're really the one who's just kind of. I think a big part of that though is the time zone difference, which is kind of a frustrating thing. I do feel bad about that, but it can't be helped, and he could definitely be doing more to, or they could definitely be doing more to kind of push forward and be more talkative, be more involved. Um, and really, that's about it. I've really had even just a random conversation with just about everyone, which has been nice.
Okay, so obviously it was 10 new players coming in, and you had the four veteran players. Has that been any concern for you, or do you just feel like you're looking at everyone kind of equally?
I'm looking at everyone pretty equally. It does help to have, some background knowledge of the game, but I think it's been quite a while and things obviously change and grow as a game. Obviously, this season has some awesome new twists that people are just like, wow, how am I going to handle this between the auditions and kind of just the Hollywood theme in general. I think that's going to put a nice even footing that we're all kind of starting at that like how's this going to work setting. So it hasn't really been much of a concern for me.
Okay, fair enough. So yeah, so speaking about the twist, so obviously the audition twist is announced. Kind of, how do you feel when you saw it announced? What do you feel like your strategy was, and kind of lead us through like what you ultimately decided with your tokens?
Sure. In the beginning, I actually think I set myself up to get the two tokens that I received. I was a little taken aback by that. I was like, oh no, what did I do? And I kind of hope that I know what I did. In the beginning, I was like, I would feel terrible if there was like one person who didn't get a token because I didn't quite comprehend until I watched the video how the twist worked. So I was like, oh my gosh, I want to give everyone one token because I would feel terrible if someone didn't get a token. And then I went and actually watched the video and I was like, oh no, not getting a token is also not necessarily the worst thing in the world because you're avoiding punishment. So then I tried to walk it back, but I do think that probably set me up for getting a couple of tokens, which is totally fine. I'm not stressing out over it at all, telling myself that. Robin and Hex were both like, "Don't even fret over it; it's all good." So that's what I'm doing. But in the end, we're trying to guess how the game's going to progress, right? You don't know how long the audition twist is going to last. It could last, you know, 3 rounds. We've seen in real life Big Brother some things that just don't work out, like Gronk, for example, back in I can't remember what season was. It just didn't work out. So it could just for a hot minute, or it could last 10 weeks or 10 rounds. It doesn't matter. So you have to kind of guess how many tokens you're going to use. So our group, the gamblers, we kind of just said, 15 tokens seemed to make sense for us. We thought that was a decent amount if we combined all four of ours together into 60. That would hopefully guarantee us the reward in the group. We didn't care who got the reward; it just wanted it to be in the group. And that kind of is what we ended up doing. Hex put the 15 on herself, and we put the 15 on her as well, so that we could have that nice bulk.
Awesome. So were there any okay, so I guess so the auditions went well. You pretty much how you expected from what you're saying. So how do you feel about the sponsorship and the punishment that were handed out? Have you heard anything about regarding what the actual power was?
So obviously you've seen the punishment part of Clash supposed to spam the 2500 uh text in that channel. So far we've had one, which again isn't boding very well for their activity level. And I really wish I was talking with Dre and we were like, I really wish this would like show them this is your opportunity, like just talk, just shoot out words. It can just be one word things, but they really haven't capitalized on any of that. On the sponsorship level, we do not know, at least within my group, the gamblers, we do not know what the actual reward for Hex was. We know that she had to pick from a thing, but they didn't know what they were actually picking. So we're assuming that each week could be, or each round could be different. But we don't know the specifics. They've been keeping that to their chest, like they said they were told to. They might be able to tell us, and we don't know that, but they are keeping it to their chest. So.
Okay, and so transitioning on to the HOH competition. So how did that play out for you? Were you gunning for it? Were you happy with how things played out? Did anyone annoy you with how they handled their autographs, etc.?
I think the only thing that annoys me is when people don't play. And in the beginning, there was definitely that hedging of the bets. But then there were those that just, and towards the end they still had two or three autographs left. It's like, come on, just play. In the beginning, I sat there and I mathed things out. Like, maybe we have 1,440 minutes across 14 players and won an average of 100 votes or 100 minutes a player if everyone got equal. Okay, Danielle, you need to shoot for above 100. I did not want to win HOH that first round. I've done other competitive games of a similar veneer in role playing websites, and going hard in the very beginning has never served me well. I tend to be a competitive person, and so I have to kind of rein that back. I don't want to put myself out there as somebody who's going for it. So I wanted to be middle of the pack. I was shooting for around that 100 to get myself that average. I figured in the beginning we were probably going to see some punishments towards the bottom of the pack. I definitely did not want to look like a slacker, and I didn't want to risk that. So shooting for the middle was about where I was going. I did plan on a middle of the night post, and I did, shoot for around 3 o'clock. Um, I had an alarm set because I was going to wake myself up. I ended up not even going to bed. It was fine. I was totally not tired the next morning. But yeah, that's where my brain kind of was. Towards the end, I was looking and seeing how many minutes I would even need to be at the top, and it just became an insurmountable number. And obviously, I talked with Dre, thought she was great, and would be a good HOH. Had hoped Hex would get it, but Dre pulled it out at the end, so it was great.
Okay, so okay, so you're happy with the Dre HOH, and You seem to be happy with her nominations. So, going into the power veto, are you hoping the winner does not use it?
Yeah, I mean, ideally, I think keeping it the same is best. Obviously, for myself, I'm not on the block, and I would hate for a backdoor situation to ever come up against me in that aspect. I've talked with Dre. I don't think that's a possibility. Uh, she was pretty open with me about the fact that she was nominating Clash and Vi, and that was where we were going to go. And then pretty much right after her and I talked is when the nominations went up. So um, she was open and honest with everyone that I talked with who had talked with her. Um, I think at this moment, unless Clash wins the veto, Clash is gonna go home. I don't necessarily like that, but it is the game. Somebody has to go home first, and they openly admitted to me that their social game is just not very good. And this is a social game. You do have to learn how to navigate what is a social minefield of 14 different people and their likes and dislikes, and you want to be involved. And so I do think in the end, the veto is probably going to have a 1 out of 6 chance of actually being used, and Clash is going to go home.
Okay. And if the veto ends up being used, who would you like to see as a replacement?
Whew, that's a tough one. I would probably say, mm, probably. Oh, that's a hard one. Um, Probably Leah. I guess personally, just haven't had as strong a connection there. Um, I don't want to go for a gameplay in the beginning and be like, I think this person is, gunning for things. I'm more on going for the cohesiveness of the house and who's going to make it into, at least in the beginning, a fun place to be. So I'd probably say Leah.
All right. And okay. So within your alliance, how do you feel like you rank everyone as far as like who you feel like closest to? Like if it came down to it and like people from the alliance had to get cut, what's your like order?
I mean, I definitely think Robin is my closest ally, and I feel that he feels the same. We went on, into the living room last night and we chatted up for a while, had a really good conversation. Just he and I, we talked about everything. It was ridiculous, and we decided this was the season of the sandwiches where we were arguing over egg salad, and chicken salad. Hex came in there and had a great conversation with us too, and then Eve kind of Zeev kind of commented from the uh, chat version. They were in the room, but used the main room as a chat, which was great. But so I would probably go. Robin is my closest ally, then Hex, and then Kathy for our 4-person alliance.
All right. So going into next week, because you mentioned your your alliance working collaborating together on the tokens. Who do you think that push will be for next time?
Um, we all seemed pretty equal on the fact that we didn't really care if we didn't get it. Um, I think that's part of the unknown in the beginning. Uh, I'd like to maybe go for it myself next week, just for the fact that I want to counter the fact that I got 2 this week, just in case there's something in the background that I'm not aware of, that we're not aware of, that is making me into a target. So I think that would be helpful to have that sponsorship for myself on the next one. I'm not necessarily opposed to Robin having it as well. Kathy's lovely, but just haven't jived as well. But I personally, I'm going to put my name forward for the reason of the fact that I did get the 2 tokens this last time, just as more of a cushion on that end.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks, Danielle. That's all the questions that I have.
Okay, awesome. It was great doing this.
All right, if you ever Yeah, if you ever want to talk about your strategies, feel free to let us know. We can set another one up. Um, yeah, that's all.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you.